Did you know you existed in your mother's ovaries while she existed in her mother's ovaries? What's going on, family? I'm your host, Guruji Chastity, and today we're going to learn 3 juicy ahas about the source, the root cause of your mother wound. So let's get into it. I found this juicy article that I am putting here on the screen, and I suggest you pause it real quick to read it. It talks about mother wounds and the source of them, and I thought this article was really enlightening. And so I wrote down something really juicy from the article itself that you'll see here on the screen. It says, I am wonderful in the eyes of the other. That's important here. That's important when we're discussing the mother wound. It says, I am important, or I am wonderful, in the eyes of the other, right? Through the separation when we are being born, okay? During the separation, follow me now, we are being ripped away from our true mother, true love, source itself, right? To be born in this existence, okay? This is from that one quote, I am wonderful in the eyes of the other. This is what it allowed me to deduce. And I'm reading here from my notes. But through the separation of being born, of being ripped away from our original component, because we know that we are not these bodies, right? We are not these bodies, family. We are the awareness that lives inside these bodies, the energy that's animating the suit. That is truly who I am. So you ain't never seen me. You ain't never seen me. You see what I'm saying? But as we're being ripped away to be born as a spirit having a human existence, right? You then need, in this physical existence, a mother to reflect back to you that you are worthy of a connection on planet Earth, right? So this is very important to know, because again, like what I said, if to be born, to be spirit, to be original spirit, infinite awareness, right? And to be born into this experience, you cannot bring all that you are here. You've heard me say it a million times, right? I am an extension of God. A lot of times we don't like to say I am God because they take it as like I am God, hear me roar, or some very egotistic thing. But we are God. I am the expression. I am the experience of God. If I fail, God fails. You see what I'm saying? Because God was at rest. God said, I am all things and no things at the same time. Let me see what that's about. And it came down here. It's all of these people with all of this infinite potential to be, right? But we only have the infinite potential to be if we have an experience, right? If we truly experience. And so when we are ripped away from our original being to be born as spirits in a human experience, as soon as we touch down, excuse me, gotta hit my liquid gold, that's celery juice. Hit that first thing in the rising on an empty stomach. Let them salts clean that gut. Health is wealth, okay? When we touch down here on earth, the first thing we need is to feel that original love that we just got ripped away from, right? That's the first aha that I really was like, oh dang, that makes sense. If I came from love, when I come down, I'm trying to at least get a little bit jiggy with something I know, something familiar, right? But they got me bust out in all these lies, people smacking booties. I'm crying and stuff. Like, it's too much, Cletus. It's too much. I don't even get to be in my mama's arms first. You feel me? That's the first aha. I was like, man, that's really juicy. That's the ultimate, I feel like, first layer before we get into the nothingness of it, okay? Because when we look at atoms and we get closer and closer into whatever thing you're looking at, you'll see it's empty space. Most times it is our perception that makes it into a thing, right? And so I feel like this is the first layer before we get to that nothingness part, right? So that's the first aha. The second aha is that when that first love is not reflected back, right? Because what we just talked about, you just left love itself, love thyself, right? You create a story to make sense of why you aren't receiving what you know to be true, okay? You make up stories. I did it. My particular story was that it was my fault And if only I could prove to her that I wasn't damaged goods, it would be fine. Right? That's how I made sense of it, of not receiving what I knew to be true. And I'll be honest, I would just be like, it truly is some type of it's hard to put it in words, the feeling, this drive, this awareness that something ain't right, but it should be, that I'm not asking for too much. Like this is I know what this is supposed to be, and it's not what it's supposed to be, but I know the feeling. It's palpable. I can feel it. It feels up a part of me that without I feel, but with it I can't describe. Right? But it's not a dull pain. It's a sensation in the body that when you receive it, you'll stay in here. But without it, you don't want to live in your body. You would rather live in your head. And so it's very important to have that first love reflected back to you, because as we get into number 3, that thing will do you in, shawty. Not having that first love reflected back to you will do you in. And it's very important, I feel like, to take heed of this while you're young, so you don't turn up to be 50 and 60 when you really slow down, and then you getting hit with all this baggage. Or Lord forbid you never do, because that is the true purpose of life that they aren't telling us. It's not your physical achievements. It is what you heal, what you grow from, what you understand through. But if we're so caught up in chasing bags and building physical realities, we're getting distracted by the inner reality that's within us, because at rest is negative energy. Everything, this is why they say in a lot of black cultures, that the origins of life come from black women, because it's negative energy. It's a darkness. God was at rest. This is why at first there was the word, that is positive energy that is going outward. But everything stems from a very inward, dark, mysterious place, and it is the expression of it outwardly that shines the light on it, right? And so when this deep, mysterious connection cannot be tethered here on this reality, i.e. when your physical, your emotional, your spiritual body cannot anchor down here because it doesn't have an anchoring point, i.e. a mother here to nurture, to embrace that part of the child. What did it say? I am wonderful in the eyes of the other. When that is not felt, when that is not seen, heard, and supported, right? Number 3, what it ends up doing, that liquid gold here, baby. What it ends up doing is for the woman suffering with the mother wound. What it ends up doing is creating a false reality with misinformation, right? Because remember that story that I just said about the story I made up to make sense of why it felt like my mom wasn't emotionally available, was because I was broken, and if only I could get my act together and behave in a certain way, then everything would be fine. If I create a reality based off of that, that is misinformation. One hell of a chunk of misinformation, which causes me to miscreate and perpetuate what I don't want to be. So meanwhile, while I'm saying I don't like this and this don't feel good, because I believe that I deserve it, by saying I'm the broken one, let me fix it, I then perpetuate a life that creates that to be true, right? So this is why it's so important to not create realities on misinformation, to really always sit down with yourself. It took me till I was about 25 to really start to notice, hey, this is not moving and I'm not steering this boat. Who's doing it? And it took me till I was about 30 to realize, all right, my hands on this boat, my feet on the gears. It's I who starts the brake. I'm doing the direction, and allow that to be true. Earlier in my life, explicitly so, I was following the blueprint that my mother gave. Afterwards, it was like training. It was already inherent. She wasn't even around, but I was behaving like everyone was her. Every experience was her. It was everything that I was holding on to. And so I took it upon myself to perpetuate more pain and more suffering for myself until I realized what I was miscreating, right? And it gave me a chance to create better, right? Which is one of the main reasons why I share in this work, share my experiences, or share these tips and tools. And essentially, these tips and tools are my experiences. No matter what video we're talking about, it's only what I've learned. It's not for you to take it as face value and go run with it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right? So the source of your mother wound, right, or the source of my mother wound, what I have discovered was these kind of 3 juicy aha moments that without, the first one being without explicitly being told or feeling that I am wonderful in the eyes of the other, right, i.e. my mother, then it didn't feel right. And because it didn't feel right, the next juicy aha moment, to make sense of why it didn't feel right, I had to make up a story. I had to make up a story to make sense of it, because wasn't nobody talking about it. Wasn't nobody saying, you know, this happened to me as a kid, so it make me a little, give me some patience. They weren't talking like it. You know, I recently learned that my mother's generation grew up as one that you are to be seen and not heard. And for me, I'm like, oh, shout it. That's a big gap, because I want to be seen and heard. So, what we gonna do? And they it be rough, baby, okay? But once we realize the gaps, once we have the information, we can do what thy wilt, right? But if we ignorant, we gonna keep suffering, right? And ignorance ain't bad, pain ain't bad, right? Pain ain't bad. Pain leads you somewhere, right? But we don't need to be out here fear-mongering ourselves. We don't need to be out here harming ourselves, abusing ourselves, unbeknownst to us or beknownst to us. We don't need to do neither, right? We need to just let the inner spiral, right, the inner rest, the inner negativity, right, the duality of this experience do what it needs to do, and then draw toward us positive experiences. Because we don't go you don't go out your house searching for negative experiences, okay? So you don't have to go out your house searching for positive ones. You just think and be that, right? You just deal with your inner spiral, right? And find the light, and find the positive, find the beauty in it, find your place to heal, and allow the things that you are healing toward to come to you, right? But we got to get the information. So fear not that you do not know. Just seek and ye shall find. Head ass. Until next time, I love you. Shout out, peace out.